We are on the ground in 78 countries, and we are trying to advance programs. We are working with governments, the national partners, governments and women's organizations and civil society, and now increasingly private sector as well, and the UN system to deliver for women and girls. And our programmatic experience we can bring to bear also in the context of water and its relationship to gender equality, relationship to food security and agriculture. The thematic areas of our focus are economic empowerment, political empowerment and participation in decision making and leadership, ending violence against women, enabling and enhancing the role of women in peace making and peace building, and gender responsive planning and budgeting and programming in every way. We try to inject the gender equality, women's empowerment dimension into all relevant sectors, whether it's health, whether it's education, whether it's water. First of all, we have to understand what is the basis of the inequity and inequalities. One is the issue of poverty, that a majority of the poor are women. More women live in rural areas. So women are traditionally given the role of collecting water. Food production and preparation and processing in the house, cleaning and water and washing clothes. All of these tasks are traditionally, given to women. So they bear the maximum burden. That gendered patterns of entitlement and ownership, whether it's land ownership and the water rights that go with it, whether it is the issue of women being more subsistence farmers, smallholders, and more dependent on rain-fed agriculture and not getting access to irrigation and access to productive assets. If women had the same access to the inputs and agricultural inputs and services, including extension services, including irrigation, and water, as men, then they would be that the yields, and it's not only good for them, it's for everybody. The yields of the staple crops would go up by 15 to 20%, and that 100 to 150 million people would be removed from the map of hungry people. Women are the main users and particularly in the household. Main users, fetchers of water are burdened by it, but they have no role in governance of water, water management. All of this means that we are strongly advocating for a change in all of this, in the gendered relations, the gendered roles, the relieving the burden of water collection and domestic use, and also making them part of the solution. That what we are seeking to do in the context of the water food security nexus is that we strongly support a blue revolution in terms of water security and water sustainability. We also strongly support a new generation of green revolution in terms of food security and agricultural sustainability. But neither of these can be possible, and you cannot be successful in bringing this about unless it is done through and for gender equality and women's empowerment. This is our strong case. But as I envision it, what we are really looking at is, first of all, what is the cooperation among stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders in the community, and also what levels in the community, at the national level, at the regional level and global level. So there should be cooperation among stakeholders at each level. That's one. Secondly, it should be as between the global level and the different other levels. Now what does this mean? It means that at the community level, civil society and women's groups, self-help groups, cooperatives, as I emphasized today, and women's organizations have to be included in any water related policies, water management policies, any infrastructure and services provision policies and programs, from the design to the execution and monitoring and implementation and evaluation process. Similarly, we must engage the private sector, use women's agency to include them in the private sector, not only as an object and a consumer, but also as a producer. And then you must have the government, and there the decision-making level, whether it's a village council or a municipal council, women must be part of that to determine what kind of water policies they need. And that should be all through. Second aspect of cooperation, when we talk about cooperation, is that the donor community, the development cooperation partners, they should prioritize water in relation to gender equality and women's empowerment, and make sure that when they do aid allocation, when they do aid prioritization, that they work with the governments concerned to emphasize this, to have policies that are engendered, and that gender mainstreaming takes place in regard to water policies.